Okay, so when we last left Joseph, he was just put into prison. He was put into prison for something he didn't do. Remember, he was in Potiphar's house. Potiphar is the captain of the prison guard, and Potiphar's wife wanted Joseph to go with him, and Joseph would not yield to that temptation, and he ran away. But Potiphar's wife lied about him, and she told her husband, and her husband, who had taken charge over Joseph and knew that Joseph was a good person and that he probably wouldn't do something like this, had to save face. He had to do something. So he had to back up what his wife said, and he put Joseph into prison. So here we are. We pick up Joseph. He's in prison. And I'm going to read from Genesis chapter 39. I'm sorry. Nope. 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 Chapter 40. My mistake. All right. So here we go. After this, the Egyptian king's cupbearer and baker offended their master, the king of Egypt. Pharaoh was angry with his two officers, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker, and put them in custody in the house of the captain of the guard in the prison where Joseph was confined. The captain of the guard assigned Joseph to them, and he became their personal attendant, and they were in custody for some time. The Egyptian king's cupbearer and baker, who were confined in the prison, each had a dream. Both had a dream on the same night, and each dream had its own meaning. When Joseph came to them in the morning, he saw that they looked distraught. So he asked Pharaoh's officers who were in custody with him in his master's house, "Why do you look so sad today?" "We had dreams," they said to him, "but there is no one to interpret them." Then Joseph said to them, "Don't interpretations belong to God? Tell me your dreams." So the chief cupbearer told his dream to Joseph. "In my dream there was a vine in front of me. On the vine there were three branches. As soon as it budded, its blossoms came out, and its clusters ripened into grapes. Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes, squeezed them into Pharaoh's cup, and placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand." "This is the interpretation," Joseph said. "The three branches are 3 days. In just 3 days, Pharaoh will lift your head up and restore you to your position. You will put Pharaoh's cup in his hand the way you used to when you were his cupbearer. But when all goes well for you, remember that I was with you. Please show kindness to me by mentioning me to Pharaoh and get me out of this prison. For I was kidnapped from the land of the Hebrews, and even here I have done nothing that they should put me into this dungeon." When the chief baker saw that the interpretation was positive, he said to Joseph, "I also had a dream. 3 baskets of white bread were on my head. In the top basket were all sorts of baked goods for Pharaoh, but the birds were eating them out of the basket on my head." "This is its interpretation," Joseph replied. "The 3 baskets are 3 days. In just 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head from off of you and hang you on a tree. Then the birds will eat the flesh of your body." On the third day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, he gave a feast for all his servants. He lifted up the heads of the chief cupbearer and chief baker. Pharaoh restored the chief cupbearer to his position as cupbearer, and he placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. But Pharaoh hanged the chief baker, just as Joseph had explained to them. Yet the chief cupbearer did not remember Joseph. He forgot him. Okay, so the two prisoners, first of all, Joseph is put into prison, and he's given the position of taking care of the prisoners. So Joseph is put into prison for no good reason, yet he is in a position to take care of people, and he does so. And for what we can read, he doesn't complain about it. He actually, I will say, enjoys doing this, taking care of the other prisoners. Now think for a second. Joseph is in prison, and the captain of the guard put him in charge. Who was the captain of the guard? The captain of the guard was Potiphar. See, Potiphar had, like I said, he had to save face and do something. He had to back his wife. But Potiphar probably didn't believe that Joseph did what she said he did. So to make it look right, Potiphar put him in charge of everybody. So he's basically satisfying two necessities here. One, he has to do something. He has to put Joseph into prison. So let's give him the cushy job. Let's put him in charge of everybody, and he'll just do what he does in prison. So really, Potiphar kind of staked his way out of that, if you will. But you know what? The thing is we have that all the time. People are always lying about us, and they're always pushing things out there so that we get in trouble. And Joseph, even though somebody lied about him and got him in trouble, he still maintained a servant's heart. Now, with that, I want you to think back to the lessons we learned from Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount. One of the biggest things that Jesus said, and one of the most important things that Jesus wanted us to do, was he wanted us to have the heart of a servant. He wants us to put other people ahead of ourselves, because God, through Jesus, put us ahead of him. And this is also how it relates, how Jesus would relate to Joseph in this story. Jesus came to us and eventually became a prisoner. And when he became a prisoner, he was innocent. He was put into prison for no reason. And when we get back to the New Testament, we get into more stories about Jesus. We're going to go through his imprisonment story. But Jesus was also an innocent prisoner who had God's message for us. Joseph had God's message for the other two prisoners. So you have two innocent prisoners with God's message for people. And the third thing is that after 3 days, Joseph was proved right. Same thing with Jesus. Jesus said he would rise again after 3 days, after he was killed. And he did. And Joseph was proved right also. You know, a lot of parallels here between Joseph and Jesus. The story continues. And remember, as it continues, Romans 8:28, he causes all things to work to the good to those that love him and are called according to his purpose. We're going to see this going on throughout this entire story of Joseph. God is going to take care of him for a reason. Have a great week.